Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining our JCU webinar series. My name is Cameron Murphy and I'm one of the future student advisors here at James Cook University. Tonight, I'll be your MC. I acknowledge the Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as the first inhabitants of this country and pay my respect to the traditional owners and elders, past and present, of the land on which we stand today. In the spirit of reconciliation, I also acknowledge the valuable contributions that Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people continue to make to James Cook University and the broader community. Tonight, we are joined by Rian from our Pathways team, who will be talking about the different pathways to help you get to where you need to be, support services available, courses, applying, and much more. Whether you're about to finish school or don't have an ATAR, or it's been a few years since you left school and you don't meet the entry requirements, there are plenty of options available. Now, some housekeeping before we get started. If you do have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel, and the JCU Future Student Advisors are online ready to answer your questions, or I can raise them with Rian throughout the presentation. Please welcome Rian.
Thanks, Cameron, and welcome everyone tonight. I'm really happy to see you all here today, and hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions you may have about pathways to university and JCU. So most people are familiar with the traditional pathway to uni. So you finish year 12, final year of school, you get an ATAR score, you put in an application through QTAC and they offer you a place. But this traditional pathway doesn't always suit everybody. What if you didn't finish year 12? What if you didn't go to high school in Australia, or your schooling was interrupted through things like migration, work, or illness, or caring for family members? It also happens that people may change their mind partway through year 12 about what they want to actually study. And you may find that you don't have the prerequisite subjects that you need, so the maths or the English or the science, to get into your chosen degree. If folks are looking for a career change and maybe find they don't have the subjects and don't meet the entry requirements, this is where pathways to university come in. So these courses can help you build the skills that you need to be successful at uni. They can also help bridge the gap between school and university if you're a little bit nervous about starting, or you want to build your skills before you get into your bachelor's, or have a taste of university before committing to a 3 or 4 year degree. That's where we can use pathways. They give you entry to a degree, and we've got a range of different pathways that you can choose from at JCU. So who can enter via a pathways course? Anyone that didn't finish year 12 or didn't finish high school, anyone who doesn't meet the ATAR requirements for their chosen bachelor's degree. If you don't have an OP or an ATAR or a ranking or the correct subjects that you need for a specific bachelor's degree or qualification, and if you don't feel you're prepared for university, that's where pathways courses come in. So if you have TAFE certificates, but you want to get some foundational understanding of academic skills in preparation for undergraduate study, even if you don't have any formal qualifications or have English as an additional language, there's a pathways course that will suit you. So JCU offers a range of different pathways courses. These are all different lengths. They contain different subjects and they have different outcomes. So we know that there's no one size fits all for this. Everyone's journey is slightly different. And the best way to work out what's right for you is honestly just to come and talk to us. So I'm going to talk through some of the different pathways options that we have available tonight, and also how you can go about applying for these courses, how they work, the kind of content that's covered, and the university supports that are available for students studying within JCU Pathways. So Domestic Pathways at JCU runs 4 different kinds of courses. We've got courses like the Tertiary Access course or JCU Prep that just serve as pathways into other degrees. And then we've got courses like the Diploma of Higher Education, which is actually a qualification in its own right. So, you know, you get the piece of paper and the funny hat, you get to walk across the stage, and it can lead to improved career outcomes, as well as giving you a way of getting credit towards a bachelor's degree, and also a little bit of experience of study. So like with bachelor's degrees, applications to most of these courses happen through QTAC. And if you find you don't get the ATAR that you need at the end of year 12, you may find that you end up getting what's known as a packaged offer. So packaged offers are basically a way for the university to reserve a spot for you within your chosen course, and also give you a tailored pathway that will meet your needs so you can study in the subject that you want. So for example, if you want to study a Bachelor of Engineering, has an ATAR entry requirement of 78.1. If you find you finish year 12 and you end up getting an ATAR 70, then QTAC will send you a packaged offer. Basically, they're saying, yes, you've got a spot, but you're going to have to do these few subjects within the Diploma of Higher Education first. If you accept that offer, you come and do 1 or 2 semesters study within the diploma that has an ATAR 50 entry requirement. And then based on your results there, meeting the prerequisite subjects that you need, so the maths and the English, you'll have a spot within the Bachelor of Engineering. So if you're in these circumstances and you don't have an ATAR at all, there's still a pathway that you can use to get there. So say, dropped out of school in year 10, didn't finish school, I want to be an engineer. Yeah, I've been out in the workforce for a couple of years maybe. We've got pathways that are open access. So these are on-campus courses like the Tertiary Access course and JCU Prep. And these can give you the ranking that you need to get into the diploma, which gives you the ranking that you need in order to get into your bachelor's degree. So each of these different courses is structured slightly differently, and I'm going to take you through each of them tonight and explain a little bit about the course structure of all of them in turn. And we're going to kick off with the Diploma of Higher Education. So the Diploma of Higher Education, fondly known as the DHE, it's one of our most popular pathways. It's the one that people most frequently receive a packaged offer for. And it has an ATAR entry requirement of 50. So the DHE provides a pathway into a really huge range of bachelor's degrees. So if you didn't get the ATAR you need for a degree, but you get more than 50, you'll most likely get a packaged offer for your chosen degree plus the Diploma of Higher Education. You can also apply directly to the diploma by selecting the diploma as a preference through QTAC. And like I said, ATAR entry is 50. There's also a minimum English language proficiency that you need to meet. So if you've got English as a second language, it's worth getting in touch with us and just making sure that you have maybe the past school that you need in order to meet that English language requirement. So that might be something like having 6 months full-time work experience. That would also enable you to gain entry into the Diploma of Higher Education. So the DHE, it's a fee-based course. So it costs varies between subjects. However, it is a government-supported course, so you can get HECS loan or a help loan in order to help you pay for that, and then you pay your fees back at the end of your degree. Anyone who's a permanent visa holder, including folks on humanitarian visas and New Zealand citizens, are eligible to apply for this. You have to reside within Australia for the duration of your studies in order to be eligible for Commonwealth support, and applications for the diploma go through QTAC. So you can apply now, applications are open, go to the QTAC website, pop in Diploma of Higher Education as your preference, and if you don't meet the course entry requirements for this, you'll receive a packaged offer to one of our other courses as well. So within the diploma, you've basically got 12 months of full-time study. So if you decide to study full-time, there are part-time options available. You're looking at about 40 hours of study per week. It's a qualification, like I said, in its own right, and it's also a pathway into a range of different bachelor's degrees at JCU. So almost all the degrees offered here, except for Bachelor of Medicine veterinary science and dentistry. So we don't offer direct pathways into those courses, but you can still start to build the skills that you need for those courses and transfer into a subject like a course like the Bachelor of Biomedicine, which would then lead you into one of those degrees. But everything else, social work, nursing, health sciences, engineering, IT, you can get there through the Diploma of Higher Education. So there's 9 different streams or majors that you can choose from within the diploma. And when you're doing your enrollment, you'll pick which one you want to go into. And within the course, there are 4 core subjects. So core subjects are the ones that everyone has to study. The core subjects that you have may vary slightly depending on what your destination degree is. So some folks will only have a technology and an English subject as core. Others will also have to do a maths and a science subject. And then you'll have a choice of electives. So electives are where you can choose from a list of subjects, from a range of different subjects that JCU offers. And these electives are first-year degree subjects. So they're first-year bachelor's level subjects. And if you study them within the diploma, they credit towards your degree. So it does seem like at the first glance that it's going to add some time onto your studies, but within 6 months, you're studying bachelor's level subjects. So it doesn't really add that much. And it can give you some really valuable experience that you can take with you into your bachelor's degree so that you're really well prepared to start. Diplomas offered on campus and online. And these are our different streams. So it depends which stream you're studying, whether or not there's an online offering. Business studies, general studies, information technology, and the society and culture stream all offered online. If you are looking at going into the others, they're provided on campus on both Townsville and Cairns campuses. So this is just a little bit of an overview of what your study plan might look like within the diploma. And one of the things that we do is we work quite closely with students to provide tailored study plans that are going to get you into the degree that you want to go into. So like I said, core subjects, in this case, you've got the developing academic skills subject, and that will take you through the reading, writing, and research process. So all of those really core research and reading and literacy skills you need to be successful at university. Learning in a digital environment is about introducing you to JCU technologies. So it's introducing the JCU platforms that we use, the range of software that you're going to be using in your bachelor's degree, and also giving you a chance to develop your skills in a range of different technical areas. There's an essential math subject, an essential science subject, and these provide foundational mathematical and scientific knowledge for students that are moving into a degree that requires those skills. And then the other electives you'll have will depend on the major or the stream that you choose. So for example, if you're going into the Bachelor of Nursing, in your first study period, you might study 3 subjects. So core academic skills and technology subject, and then also a first-year bachelor's level subject like communication for nursing and midwifery. In your second study period, so the second half of the year, you then study Introduction to Health Sciences subject, a core math subject, and maybe another first-year bachelor's level health subject. So who's this one for? Anybody that doesn't quite meet the ATAR requirements for their chosen degree can enter through the Diploma of Higher Education. So for folks that have completed year 12 but don't have the right ATAR or the right ranking, anyone who's completed year 11 at high school comes out with an ATAR 50 equivalent or has worked for 6 months within certain fields. If you provide QTAC with all of that information, you may gain a place within the Diploma of Higher Ed. So it's really designed to help you develop the necessary academic skills that you need for success at uni. You can be 17 if you're turning 18 in the year that you're studying. So if you're turning 18 next year, you can apply so long as you've finished year 12. Otherwise, you do have to be 18 years old in order to commence study within the diploma. Skills do you need? So English language proficiency. So base level of English language proficiency and some basic computing skills. And that's sufficient generally. The rest of the skills that you need to be successful in the diploma, you'll build within those core subjects. We've gone over some of the stuff you study, and we've got all different kinds of streams. So you can do science, you can do health sciences, education, information technology, engineering, business, all the social science areas like archaeology and anthropology. You've got a really, really huge range of different subjects to study within the diploma. And it can be a really great way of testing out areas that you might be interested in before you commit to a 4-year degree. Degrees that you can get into, almost everything. So the only ones, like I said, we don't fit into are those really high-end medical degrees where you may have to take a pathway through the diploma and then into a couple of years of a Bachelor of Biomedicine, for example, before going into one of those degrees. Otherwise, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of IT, all of those different areas you can get into through the diploma. The supports that you have available. Within the diploma, we have dedicated student support advisors. So Kimberly, who's with us here today answering some questions in the chat, she's one of our student support advisors, and she's there to provide you with support both at the enrollment stage and also throughout your studies. We've got a range of dedicated subject lecturers that are there for you to help develop your skills, help you with any problems that you have throughout the semester, as well as access to all of the learning supports that we have here at JCU through the library, through our learning centre, through places like the Indigenous Education and Research Centre. You have access to all of these things as a diploma student. So generally the whole course would cost between around $9,000 if you were to complete the entire diploma. But costs do vary according to which subjects you want to pick. And like I said before, it is HEC supported, so you can defer those payments until after you finish studying within the diploma and within your bachelor's. And people go from the diploma to all sorts of places. So these are just a couple of our current and past students that have gone through the diploma. She started off studying within the diploma and is now working towards a Bachelor of Education. Andrew, if you just studied in Townsville, he's a face that you'll get to know. He started from a background in trades and started the diploma in 2016. He's now studying for his master's in anthropology here at JCU. And Phoebe, she started diploma back in 2015 and is now working as a media designer in Cairns. So we have a range of different career outcomes from this course, and you'll meet some really, really diverse people, and it's a nice space to be. So the other option that we've got is the Tertiary Access course. So the Tertiary Access course is for anybody over the age of 18 if you don't quite meet the diploma entry requirements. So if you don't meet the entry requirements for the diploma, or you want a bit of a taste of university, or you're a bit nervous about starting, the Tertiary Access course offers smaller classes and a more high support environment for you to begin university. There are no subject fees in this course, so it really is a try before you buy situation. And you can apply directly through JCU. So applications for the Tertiary Access course, they don't have to go through QTAC. However, you may find that if you don't meet the ATAR 50 for the diploma, you get a packaged offer that includes the Tertiary Access course. So Tertiary Access course, or TAC, as we tend to call it, is 6 months of full-time study. So there are 4 subjects. It's a pathway to the diploma. It can also be a pathway to some bachelor's degrees. So for example, a Bachelor of Social Work, you can get straight into from the Tertiary Access course. But The bachelor's degrees you can get into from here are quite limited. Most folks has to go tertiary access course, diploma, bachelor's degree. There are 4 core subjects within the tertiary access course, so it's only those 4 subjects. You've got an English subject, a math subject, a technology subject, and a couple of academic learning and an academic learning subject. Small classes on campus in Townsville or Cairns, and you'll probably have less than 30 people in your class if you're studying within this course. So tertiary access course is for anybody that wants a taste of university or is looking to transition into the Diploma of Higher Education. Or if you want a little bit more intense preparation before you transition into the diploma or a degree. So if you've completed up to year 10 in high school, or you're a little bit nervous about commencing study at university, or you want to have a go before you commit to a fee-based course, tertiary access course will give you a taste of what uni life is like. The skills that you need, if you've had a long break, for example, as well, that's where it can be really good to sort of brush up on your core skills before you start studying. You need to be 18 during your first year of study. And this is for both school leavers and folks that have been out working for a while if you're post-school age. It's an open access course, so you're not required to have any kind of specific skill set before entering the tertiary access course. There's basic English language requirements, computing requirements, maths. If you're coming in from high school or not even having finished high school, you'll be fine within the tertiary access course. It's there to build your skills in these areas. Degrees that you can get into: Diploma of Higher Education, a couple of bachelor's degrees, and there's a lot of support available. So again, you've got your student support advisors, dedicated student support advisors that can help advise on study plans and help you throughout if you're struggling with anything throughout the course. And you've also got dedicated subject lecturers and tutors that will work with you on your specific campus in small groups on all of the assessment work that you're going to be doing. So tertiary access course is free. It doesn't cost anything. There are subjects, so student services and amenities fees, and they cost around $47 per subject, and that just goes towards paying for all of the services that you use at JCU. But there are no subject fees. You don't need HECS or anything in order to study within the tertiary access course. The other option, and this is a brand new course that will be starting next year, is JCU Prep. So this is another alternative for folks that maybe don't meet the ATAR requirements of the diploma, but who don't want to add an extra 6 months of study onto their university journey by doing the tertiary access course. Starting next year, we'll also have the option of JCU Prep. So this is a wholly online course. It's a new pathway, like I said, coming in January 2022. It's available to anyone over the age of 18 who's an Australian citizen or permanent resident. There are no subject fees. You do have those student services and amenities fees, so the $47 or whatever it was, but you don't get a HEC step for this subject. If you are interested in studying, enrollments for this aren't open yet, but they will be soon. So our email address is up there on the screen, pathways@jcu.edu.au. Get in touch and we can pop you on the list so that you can be contacted as soon as enrollments for this course open. So this pathway will allow you to meet the DHE, so the Diploma ATAR entry requirements, and start in semester 1, so end of February 2022. It's an online course, so if anyone is applying for the Diploma of Higher Education studying externally, you'll probably find if you don't meet the ATAR 50 entry requirement, you'll get a packaged offer to JCU Prep plus the Diploma of Higher Education. On-campus students will also have the option of transferring into JCU Prep once enrollments open later on this year. It consists of 4 weeks intensive study. So starting mid-January, so 19th of January, we'll be starting, running through until the middle of February, just before the start of semester 1. And it consists of what's called a multidisciplinary subject. So a multidisciplinary subject is where you're studying all sorts of things within the one subject. So within the subject called Foundations of Academic Success, you'll be studying the literacy requirements for university. You'll be doing a little bit of maths. You'll be working with some of the technologies that you're going to be using at uni. And it really is just a way of giving you a bit of a head start for your studies within the diploma, and a way of making sure that everyone meets those entry requirements. It's quite self-directed, so it's online study. You're on your own in front of your computer. You will have a subject lecturer, and there will be live online classes happening through what's called our Learn JCU platform. It's like a little bit like Zoom. You'll be able to interact with your lecturer there. And you will also have the support of our Pathways student support team on campus if you need it. So we're only a phone call away if you are working within one of these courses as well. So who's this one for? Well, anybody that is comfortable studying online and doesn't quite meet the entry requirements of the Diploma of Higher Education. That's where I recommend studying JCU Prep. It is an option that's available for folks that do meet the diploma entry requirements, but who just feel that they need a little bit of preparation before starting university. Entry requirements, again, this is open access. So you just got to be over the age of 18. You do need a basic level of computing skills, and you will need access to probably a laptop with a reliable internet connection in order to study this course. Subjects that you'll study, so you'll look at academic research and how you go about understanding different kinds of research, how you go about formulating arguments, applying basic numeracy skills, and also working with university systems and technologies. It will get you into the Diploma of Higher Education. It's just a direct pathway into that course. And like I said, there's a wealth of support available. You will have a dedicated subject lecturer who's available to answer questions and work with you online. And no cost to this one, just those subject student services and amenities fees. All right, and our final Pathways course offered at JCU is the Certificate of Higher Education. So the Certificate of Higher Education, it consists of what are called short bridging courses. These are all online, and entry requirements are that you have to be 18 years old or currently this year studying year 12. The CHE, the Certificate of Higher Ed, is for folks that have met the ATAR requirement of their chosen bachelor's degree, but are missing what's known as a prerequisite subject. Now, a prerequisite subject might be a math subject or an authority science subject that is required for a certain degree, like the Bachelor of Education, for example. And if you decide, say, partway through year 12, hang on a minute, I don't want to be a lawyer, I want to be a teacher, but you don't have that authority science subject. If you meet the ATAR for the Bachelor of Education, you can pick up the authority science subject by studying the CHE. There are minimum English language proficiency requirements for this course, so just have to make sure that you meet those. You need to be an Australian citizen or permanent resident, and you can apply for these courses directly through the JCU website. Cost has been $46.95 per subject. So these ones are an absolute bargain, and those costs will likely stay around the same for 2022 as well. So these short courses, they run between November and January. There's a couple of different offerings coming up over the next couple of months. Does require some significant independent study. So again, you'll be logging in through our JCU platform. You'll be studying online classes as well as doing independent study through subject materials that are provided within the course. We advise people generally to just do one of these subjects. They are intense. You're going to be studying online all day for that 4 weeks. So we don't recommend that you do more than one of these at a time, but they will let you fulfill those maths and science prereqs. There are 4 different subjects available within the Certificate of Higher Education, and they are MA0022. So this is a preparatory maths subject. And if you need a C or better in maths methods, and you require this as a prerequisite for your chosen bachelor's degree, that's where preparatory maths comes in. So we've got 2 different offerings. Start dates for this one starts on the 22nd of November, the next round. And then there'll be another round offered beginning of next year, 17th of January. And these will allow you to meet that maths prerequisite in order to get into your chosen bachelor's degree, so long as you've also met the ATAR entry requirements. Same for CH0020, preparatory chemistry. So this is for folks that don't have a C or better in chemistry and need this subject as a prerequisite for their degree. Same start dates, 22nd of November, 17th of January. And you can apply for these through the JCU website. We've also got MA0022. So this is for folks, if you don't get a C or better in general maths and you need that as a prereq for your bachelor's degree, then you can come and study this one. It starts on the 17th of January. So if things go sideways during year 12, all is not lost. If you want to study education, we've also got the Bridging Science for Teachers subject. So this is for folks who specifically want to go into a Bachelor of Education, either early childhood education or primary education, and they need a general science subject. So if you don't have a C or better in general science, that's where that one comes in. Certificate of Higher Education. Okay, just to reiterate some of that, I know it's a lot of information. Who's this one for? People that meet the ATAR requirements of their bachelor's degree, but are missing one of those what are called prerequisite subjects. So either a maths or a science subject that you need for the bachelor's degree. Entry requirements. So you do need English language proficiency. You need to meet the ATAR for your chosen bachelor's degree. And you do need access to computer and internet because these subjects are wholly online. Skills, basic computing literacy is also a requirement. Depending on which subject you pick, you will study either 4 weeks of intensive maths or 4 weeks of intensive science. And these will allow you to meet the prereqs for whichever bachelor's degree you've entered into. Support, again, you've got our Pathways support advisors. You'll also have support from our Pathways Success Assistant. They will help you throughout the course. They'll monitor your progress and they'll let you know, if you have missed assessments or anything, and they'll help you work with your lecturers. So $46.95 in 2021. Costs may increase slightly, but not too much by 2022. Okay, so application process. What forms should you fill in? The forms you fill in depend on which course you're applying for. I do advise everyone, aim high, aim for your chosen bachelor's degree. And if you don't meet the entry requirements, you'll just get a packaged offer through QTAC. So head to QTAC, that's where you'll be able to fill out your application for the Diploma of Higher Education. Give it a go, see if you get in. The application forms for the Certificate of Higher Education are available through the JCU website. Same with the Tertiary Access course. There you can apply directly to JCU. And if you're interested in the JCU Prep course, so online 4 weeks to prepare you for the diploma, then you can email pathways@jcu.edu.au and we'll pop you on our list and you'll be provided with information on the enrollment process for that course as soon as it goes live. What documents do you need? So if you are applying for the Diploma of Higher Education, I encourage you to provide QTAC with any evidence that you have of your work history, school, transcripts, and if you're working with English as a second language, as an additional language, then provide evidence of English language proficiency, whether that's an IELTS test, or if you don't have IELTS, you can come to us and we've got assessments that we can do that can help you meet that English prereq. Where do you go for help? Pathways@jcu.edu.au. You can also look us up on the JCU webpage, and you're more than welcome to get in touch. Flick us an email, give us a call. We're happy to answer people's questions and help you work out which pathway is right for you. Application closing dates will depend on which course you're applying for. So applications for the diploma, they will close in early February. Just make sure I get this right. Kimberly's here in case I get it wrong. So 15th of February, 10th of February enrollments close. So applications through QTAC close. By the 15th of February, you have to have accepted your offer if you want to start for study period 1. The JCU Prep course, we anticipate that applications for that will close by the 10th of January. And Tertiary Access course, because it starts 1 week before the regular semester, applications for that will close by February the 8th. The Certificate of Higher Education courses, because they're coming up much sooner, they'll be closing 1 week beforehand. So for those ones that start November, they'll be closing 1 week prior. So what next? Apply, put in your application through QTAC, aim high, aim for the bachelor's degree that you want to get into. And if you don't quite meet the ATAR requirements, or if you don't get those prereqs, then you'll get a packaged offer to the Diploma of Higher Education, and we can work with you to create a study plan that will get you where you want to be. So once you've applied through QTAC, keep an eye on your emails. That's where that offer will come through. Once you've received an offer from JCU, you'll be directed to communicate with Pathways, or we'll get in touch with you as well. And then you'll be completing our pre-semester task. So this is just a short online quiz that we get everybody to do before they commence with their pathway, so that we can make sure we've got the right supports available for you for what you need. And then we'll go through the subject enrollment process. So we'll help you create a study plan and pick the subjects that will enable you to meet the requirements for your bachelor's degree. And then if you're in the diploma, we all come on campus, or if you're in the external version, the online version, we'll meet online for a welcome day where we tell you basically how everything works. You get to meet your lecturers and learn a little bit about what you're going to be studying and what to do when you start, and sort of ease some of those nerves. So we've got support at all stages of this process. So we can help you with planning out your studies, picking subjects, deciding which pathway is right for you. We can also provide support with the enrollment process. So understanding what forms to fill out, what kind of documents you need to provide, and how you actually pick subjects so that you can get into the bachelor's degree that you want. We've also got study supports available. So here at the JCU Learning Centre, there are short courses that they run that will help you build the skills that you need. We've also got a range of online supports that you can use, and you'll be able to have one-on-one consultations with your lecturers where they can help you with your assessment and provide you with feedback on your learning throughout the process. If you have a short-term, long-term physical or mental health issues, then you can register with accessibility supports, and they can provide adjustments. They can help provide adjustments for your subjects and liaise with your subject lecturers so that you don't have to reiterate and tell everybody everything every single time that you want, an adjustment made. And that can be things like, if you've got dyslexia and you need to use voice to text software, or if you need preferential seating or parking, or you've got back issues and you need to stand up and have a walk around during class, that's where accessibility services can help out. And if things go sideways at any point through semester, we've got our counselling and wellbeing services, and they're available free to all JCU students, and they can provide short-term and ongoing support for anyone that's experiencing mental health issues. So what do you do now? Think about what you're interested in. Pathways are a great way to test out different study areas before committing to a longer term degree. Think about the things that you're interested in. Think about your values. What's important to you? And do you want to help people? Do you want to change the world? Are you passionate about the environment? What is it that really drives you? And how can you tailor your studies to help you make a difference in that area, to your own life and to the lives of those around you? Do your research, read up on the website, and talk to your family and friends. Get their input, get their advice as you're going, and talk to us. So get in touch, Pathways at JCU. We're more than happy to answer people's questions. There are loads of different pathways to university, and we can help you find the right one.
Perfect. Thanks, Rhiannon. So there was quite a lot of important information there, and we do have time for some Q&A. So whilst we move on, if you do have any questions, absolutely put them into the Q&A, and we will answer as many as we can live. Now, I would just like to also, I guess, bring to your attention that in the coming weeks and months, we do have some upcoming webinars that you might be of interesting. So managing year 11 and 12 in the face of uncertainty, presented by Michael Carr-Gregg. So that'll be on Thursday, the 7th of October at 7 p.m. And then again, about a week later, on Wednesday, the 13th of October, we have our year 12 webinar for those students in year 12, I guess, transitioning to university. So whilst that was going on, I have had some questions come through that I thought would be a great opportunity to answer, and I guess answer them for everybody that was in attendance. So I guess the first one that came through is students that are studying online through the online version of the offering, through the Certificate of Higher Education, the Diploma of Higher Education, those sorts of things, are they able to come onto campus and access the student services and support academics and those sorts of things, or just come onto campus to study? Absolutely.
Yeah, we love seeing our external students on campus. You can also access the resources in the city campuses as well. So if we've got campuses in Douglas, in Townsville, and in the city. So if you want to use any of those facilities, you're more than welcome. And yeah, definitely you can come in and you can talk to your lecturers. You can talk to our student support advisors. Yeah, we love seeing folks, whether you're internal students or external students.
Thank you. You mentioned the support services through accessibility. Is that something that needs to be completed through QTAC or just directly to the university?
So that happens directly through the university. During the start of your studies, there's an assessment that you fill out. You do need medical documentation. And Kimberly can help you with that process if you need to as well at the start of your studies. So that doesn't have to go through QTAC. That goes directly here through JCU.
Perfect. Someone's asked if we could talk a little bit more about the pathways into JCU Medicine.
Okay, so JCU Medicine is the one place that the diploma, or one of the few places the diploma doesn't provide a direct pathway into. So if you were looking to study medicine, but you didn't meet the ATAR entry requirements, then you could potentially come in and study within the Diploma of Higher Education, and then study maybe a year or two of a Bachelor of Biomedicine. And then you could do the application process into medicine. So the medicine application process is quite rigorous. You've got to do a written application. There's a panel interview. Yeah, we do like our doctors to be super duper smart, unsurprisingly. So it's not an impossible task. We do have some diploma students that are super successful within medicine, but the course itself doesn't provide a direct pathway. Having said that, if you meet the ATAR entry requirements for a Bachelor of Medicine, but you're missing a prerequisite subject, you can pick up that subject through the certificate course. So the preparatory math subject, for example, or the preparatory chemistry subject. And then that will allow you to tick that box to meet the entry requirement for that, for the Bachelor of Medicine.
Perfect. I guess for anyone in attendance tonight, if they do want further information on particularly medicine, we did run some previous webinars on the application-based programs and QTAC, and they can be found by searching on our website, jcu.edu.au/webinars. They're always a great resource to check out. But thank you. Another question that came through is, do you need an ATAR to get into the tertiary access course?
Nope. Tertiary access course is open access. So no ATAR, no ATAR, no problem. You can access the tertiary access course. That's what it's for.
Perfect. Wonderful. So this student's asked a direct question. I'm going to broaden it to apply to all Certificate of Higher Education subjects. If they miss a lesson in either the maths or chemistry bridging course subjects, are they able to catch up by a recorded lesson or something like that?
Yeah, so all of our online classes generally are recorded, and those recordings are available afterwards for students to review, or if something happens and you miss a class. Within those Certificate of Higher Education subjects, they are really fast paced though. So if you've got 4 hours of study on one day and you miss out on those classes, that means the next day you've got 8 hours of study to do. So yeah, if you're missing out on too many days, it will probably be a good idea to come and have a talk to one of our student support advisors about what you can do there. But yeah, there will be recordings available for people to catch up and revise materials for online courses.
Perfect. And I guess following on from that, both maths and chemistry have 2 course offerings. Is it advisable for students to do them at the same time, or to do, say, maths at one and chemistry at the other?
No, be kind to yourselves. Do one and then the other. You'll likely have much better outcomes. You're looking at double full-time study if you try to study 2 of those subjects at the same time.
Perfect. So a student or a participant has just put in a question for the Diploma of Higher Education. The questions for the Diploma of Higher Education. I want to get into the Bachelor of Social Work. So if I completed the Diploma of Higher Education, what would I have to do once I've completed that diploma?
So depends whether you get a packaged offer. If you get a packaged offer, you'll just be able to transfer straight into the Bachelor of Social Work. You fill out a course transfer form, and Kimberly's the person to help you with that process. If you've completed the Diploma of Higher Education, but you don't have a packaged offer, you'll just put in an application to the Bachelor of Social Work. And I'm just going to let Kimberly tell me, does that have to go through QTAC, Kim?
Hi, no. So if a student comes into the Diploma of Higher Education and completes the subjects that they need to meet the entry requirements for social work, they can just apply via a course transfer form through JCU, and they'll be able to move into that bachelor degree.
Perfect. Thanks, Kim. What's the best pathway for a student who doesn't get an ATAR?
Again, that's very much depends on the student. The best options for folks if you don't get an ATAR would be either the Tertiary Access course or JCU Prep. If you're comfortable studying online and you have access to a computer and a reliable internet connection, then JCU Prep will allow you to enter into the Diploma of Higher Education at the beginning of next year. If you're not comfortable studying online, you don't like using computers, then I would recommend the Tertiary Access course on either our Townsville or our Cairns campus.
Perfect. The Diploma of Higher Education has an ATAR of 50. So if a student doesn't have an ATAR of 50 or higher, but they've completed a Certificate 3 or higher, are they able to use that as an entry pathway?
You'd have to provide that to QTAC, and they would likely assess that as what we call a nominal ATAR. Same if you've got 6 months full-time work history. Provide all of that documentation to QTAC, and they'll be able to assess whether or not you meet the entry requirements.
Perfect. The Certificate of Higher Education costs $46.95. Do the students pay for that whilst they're applying for the program, or do they pay for it once they've completed it?
So that payment will be done on application. It has to be done by what's called census date. So all of our courses have a census date. That's the date you have to have paid by in order to continue your enrollment. Within the certificate courses, I think it's 1 week or 2 weeks into the course. I'm sorry, I'm just checking my calendar, which is down there. 2 weeks into the course, you have to have paid those fees if you want to keep in with the subject. If you withdraw before then, you don't have to pay.
Yeah, perfect. Now, you mentioned there were 9 streams of the Diploma of Higher Education, and you sort of major in one of them. Are you able to major in 2, or do you just have to select one of them?
So you have to select one of those diploma streams, but if you're not quite sure what area you want to go into, there's the general studies stream, and that will give you the entire range of electives within the diploma. So you could study a sociology subject alongside an IT subject within the general studies stream if you wanted to experiment with some different areas.
And do you find students do that, or do they sort of know what they want when they come into the diploma?
We find most folks have a pretty good idea of what they want when they come into the diploma. We also find that lots of people change their mind as they start exploring the different subject offerings that are available.
Yeah, perfect. Going back to accessibility, is there a sort of, I guess, a consideration that the university puts into place as to what deems eligible for accessibility, or is it something that's preset?
I'm going to hand that one over to Kimberly.
Hi again. Okay, so I think the question was, are there requirements for a student to register with accessibility? Is that right?
I guess more what sort of is deemed an accessibility requirement? Like, is it a particular health condition, or is it something in a case-by-case situation?
Yeah, so it is case by case, but generally it can be a short-term illness, it can be an injury, it can be a mental health condition, it could be a physical disability. Basically, it can be anything that a challenge for a student, but there does need to be some supporting documentation or a diagnosis in order for some supports or to be put in place for the student, for some adjustments to be made for the student. Does that answer the question, Cameron?
Absolutely, thank you. It's really good. So the next question that we've got come through is, what date do the offer rounds end? Do we receive offers until that date, or do we only receive them on that date?
So you receive offers on the date that specific offer round ends. And if you Google QTAC offer rounds, there's details of all of those different dates. And for the diploma, we go right up until the February 10th offer round. So that'll be the last one where offers go out for the Diploma of Higher Education.
Perfect. And I guess just a question of clarity, with students doing the Certificate of Higher Education to meet the subject prerequisites, is it true that if you're looking at applying for one of our application-based programs, so medicine, dentistry, or vet science, that you have to complete them in that first offer round or first intake in November to be eligible?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So
Perfect.
for those ones, it's those November subjects for the CHE.
Perfect. Wonderful. Questions. What else have we got? There's 21 questions in the chat. Let's have a look down here, see if there's any important ones that we should answer. How do students enroll into the Certificate of Higher Education subject? So you did mention that they've got to go onto the Pathways website, on the JCU website, and is there instructions as to how to do that?
Yep. So on the just search up on JCU Pathways, click into the Certificate of Higher Education. There's a list of those different subjects, and when you put your application in, you'll be able to specify which of those subjects it is that you want to enroll in.
Perfect. There's a question just come in referring to Kim's answer. What would happen if you have multiple injuries and mental health? I guess would accessibility kick in and will be implemented, and it would support the students however best we can?
Yeah, so accessibility will provide what are called reasonable adjustments for your course. So whatever kind of adjustments you need that will still enable you to meet the requirements of your course, accessibility can put those in place. And it doesn't matter whether it's one thing or whether it's multiple things that you're dealing with. Yeah, go visit accessibility and they can help liaise with your lecturers, put supports in place that you need based on your own health circumstances. Perfect.
Kim just came in and said, thanks, I couldn't type that as fast as you could speak it. So you're welcome, Kim. If anyone else has any questions, absolutely put them in the chat. This is a great opportunity, I guess, to get your questions answered. I'm just having a look. There was a question about how long the Certificate of Higher Education goes. I guess, excuse the ignorance if you did mention this, but I guess if you didn't, now's a good opportunity. How long does the certificate go for?
Yep, 4 weeks full-time study. So each of those different enrollment blocks, you got 4 weeks of study.
Perfect. Will that prepare students adequately to go into, say, a bachelor requiring science or mathematics?
If you've met the ATAR entry requirement for that degree, it will, but just because you do one of those certificate subjects doesn't mean that you can't come and enroll in the diploma afterwards. So if you do the certificate and you're left afterwards thinking, uni's full on, I want another 6 months or another 12 months to really be prepared and do well in my bachelor's degree, you can still enroll in the Diploma of Higher Education afterwards.
Perfect. And very fitting, the question is, how long is the Diploma of Higher Education?
That very much depends. So it's if you want the diploma, the certificate, the piece of paper, you need to do at least 12 months of full-time study. So that's 2 semesters at JCU with 4 subjects per semester. What we find is that a lot of people just use the diploma as a stepping stone into the bachelor's degree. So that might mean that you come and you do 1 semester of study, so from February to June, and then if you've got a good enough results in your diploma subject, you can apply for an early transfer into your bachelor's degree within the second half of the year. And if you study part-time, it takes longer.
Yeah, and if students wanted to do that option of transferring halfway through, do they just speak to the Pathways team, or is there someone best to speak with?
Yep, so we'd be able to help you with that process after your first semester of study. So once you've finished your first semester, you come and talk to Kimberly or myself or Gabby, who's our student support advisor in Cairns, and we'll be able to advise you as to the process and also whether or not you're likely to meet the requirements for an early transfer into that degree.
Perfect. And just one final question. Can you change your major in the Diploma of Higher Education?
Absolutely. some of those folks that I showed you the pictures of, Andrew, for example, he's changed halfway through, and then he changed halfway through his bachelor's degree as well. So yeah, people change their minds as they're exposed to different things, and you can definitely do that.
Perfect, thank you. Well, thanks so much, Rianne and Kimberly, for providing such valuable information tonight on pathways into JCU. I'd also like to thank you all for joining tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you found it informative. I would just like to let you know, as you exit tonight's webinar, there will be a post-survey feedback form. I was just wondering if you're able to complete that once you do conclude. But that's all for us tonight. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening.